tracking the wrong metrics. You're tracking metrics that look good. To grow your business, you don't need to track metrics that look good. You need to know the exact numbers behind what's going on in your business so that you can actually scale. In this video today, I'm going to break down the only metrics that matter in scaling your home building business when it comes to your marketing, because there's a lot of information and we're going to break it down and keep this super simple so that you know the exact metrics that actually matter. And so you also know the metrics that also don't matter. So that's what you'll get out of this video. We're gonna crush it out. Let's go. So here's the problem. Most builders, they look and they say, hey, how many leads did I get? But the problem there is that leads only are as good as the leads that you can close into signed contracts. And so you need to know the numbers behind how much money you need to spend to get the lead, and then how many leads do you actually need to close a deal. Because look, if you put your ego and you put it on the floor and you just remove your ego out of the situation, you know that you're not closing every single deal that you talk to, because not every single person is buyers ready, right? That's the honest truth. So look, that's the problem, is that most builders are tracking the wrong metrics. They really only like, hey, how many leads did I get? How many calls did I get? How much traffic was on my website? But it doesn't really matter. You're only marketing your business so that you can get projects at the end of the day, right? Right? That's you, right? If it's not you, stop watching this video. All right, so keep this simple. Let's start with the metrics that don't matter. I have a list, so I'm gonna read them out for you. The metrics that matter less than you think are these ones: clicks, impressions, reach, followers, website traffic. So these metrics aren't necessarily useless, but they're not great. Like, they're not actually going to move the needle, right? It's a part of moving the needle, but it is not the needle. You cannot make decisions off of those metrics. They're good metrics. It's good to track them, but you know what I mean? Like, it's literally not data that you can make a decision off. These metrics don't tell you if your marketing is working. They don't pay the bills, and they're just vanity metrics. That's really all they are. Okay, here is the only metric that you need to obsess over as a home builder, and that's qualified leads. Qualified leads. People who have already gone through the process of either qualifying themselves or disqualifying themselves. So you need qualified leads to close deals. A qualified lead is somebody who understands that they're going to need a budget, they're going to need a timeline, right? And these people actually have the intent to build. Like, they want to make a plan and get it rolling. Again, qualified leads. You need to obsess over this. So look, if your marketing is generating you lots of leads, but they're all unqualified, then you're doing the wrong kind of marketing and you have a problem. See, you could be looking at different metrics, but those metrics don't matter unless you get qualified leads. See, at the end of the day, qualified leads are 100 times better than volume, because let's just say you could launch an ad and you had somebody fill it out. You would rather phone that person and close a deal rather than, let's say, having a quantity of leads and have 100 leads, but you're only able to close one. See, those metrics don't really make sense. So you may as well get the qualified leads. That's what you're after. That's the metric you want to obsess over. The second metric you want to track is your cost per lead, cost per qualified lead. So how much do you have to spend and how many leads do you need to get a qualified lead? Somebody who has the budget, who has the time, and they're prepared and they have the intent to take action. The third metric that you need to track as a home builder is your cost to book a meeting. So how much does it cost? How many qualified leads do you need to get in front of somebody in person, right? And actually have a thorough conversation and help them launch their idea of building a home into an actual reality. Metric number 4 is you want to be tracking the show up rate. So how many leads did you generate? How many did you book into appointments? And how many of those people you booked into appointments actually showed up to your meeting, right? So the show rate is super important, because you could have the leads, but if people aren't showing up to your meetings, then it's going to be really hard to close them. Metric number 5 is you want to know the close rate. So now you have the leads, you've had these appointments. How many of the appointments are you actually closing? And how long does it take you to close those deals? So super important metric. You literally need them to show up in order to close the deal. Metric number 6 that you want to track is your average project value. This is super important so that you know exactly what your return on investment is going to be. So you can plug this in advance and reverse engineer the numbers so that you actually know how much you need to spend to get how much value in terms of project value, right? Like, are you spending $3,000 to go and build $1 million project? Are you spending $1,000 to go and build something? You know what I mean? So that you need to know those numbers. See, now every single one of these metrics flows together. You have traffic, from traffic to lead, from lead to call, from call to contract. See, if one part of this process breaks, you're screwed. And see, look, the biggest takeaway that you can take away from this video is obviously the metrics that you have to track. But the next most important thing is really you have to track your numbers and be organized. You need the right systems and processes. And so whatever you're tracking will expand. Whatever you're not tracking will probably disappear. So make sure you're tracking the right numbers so that you scale your business exactly how you want to do it. Don't be trying to scale your business off of hopes, wants, or dreams. You need to scale your business with confidence, a plan, and execution. That's it. Let's go. See you in the next one.